Today I will be circle weaving using a CD. For this project, I will be using the following materials: a CD, maybe some paint pens for additional details at the end. I'll be using some yarn. I'm using 2 different colors today, some scissors, and some masking tape. I'm going to start off with my main yarn. This is the yarn that's going to be the loom for my weaving, and I'm going to get about the distance from one fingertip to the other. So if you stretch the yarn from one fingertip to the other and you hold your arms straight out, that's probably enough yarn. And I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of tape and tape it to the back of my CD. It's going to go through the center hole, and then I'll tape it to the back just like that. So I have it coming right through the middle. And now I'm going to continue to go through the center hole by wrapping it around the outside edge of my CD and then bringing it up through the middle. Bring it around the outside edge of my CD and up through the middle. Bring it around the outside edge of my CD and up through the middle. I'm going to continue to do this all the way around my CD with my yarn, and I'm trying to keep it kind of tight with my other finger. Here you can see I've gone a lot farther. I've done a lot of them, and as you do it, I'd like you to put your yarn in groups of 2. So I'm pushing 2 of my yarn pieces together, and that's because it's important to have an odd number of yarn. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 is an even number. So I need to do 1 more so that I have an odd number, a single piece that doesn't have a friend here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 times around my CD. Once you have an odd number, you can go ahead and tape the second piece of string here to the back of the CD as well to finish it off. And then I'm going to trim off any extra yarn that I still have with my scissors. All right, so I wrapped it around my CD 17 times. You could do 15, you could do 19, but usually I found somewhere around there to be a good number for this project. It just has to be an odd number or else the weaving will not work as well. So that is pretty important. All right, I am separating my yarn pieces again so that they're kind of more evenly spread out. And now I am ready to weave. So I'm going to take the color that I'm using for my weaving, and I like to use this variegated thread, this yarn that changes colors just because it looks cool. And I'm going to take about arm's length, maybe a little longer, to start off. You can always add more yarn later. You can always switch colors, so it's not a big deal. And just like I started the white one, I'm going to put this one through the middle, and then I'm going to tape it to the back as well. So 3 pieces of tape on the back here so far. You could tie it to one of the white pieces on the back, but taping is just as easy. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a piece of tape here to start my red piece. All right. Now for my colored yarn, I'm just going to pick any string to start with, and I'm going to go under it. And then I'm going to skip the next one and then go under another one and then go over and then under another one. And then after I've done maybe 4 or 5 of these, I'm going to go ahead and pull my yarn all the way through. So I usually go over, under, and then I'm going to pull it out so that my yarn gets a little bit tighter. Like that. And I'm not pulling it super hard because I don't want it to get crazy tight, but I'm going to just continue going around my CD over, under, and about every 5 or 6 I'm going to try to pull my yarn all the way through to kind of tighten it up a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more and then pull it through gently so that it gets tight on my CD. You can kind of see it going around. Now I'm coming back around to my first one here where I first started, and you'll see I went under it first. So this time as I hit that string, that white string, I should be going over it, which I am. So that's good. That's where that odd number of strings comes in. So you should be doing just the opposite that you did the last time around. If you went under a string last time, you will be going over it this time. If you went over it last time, you'll be going under it this time, which is how the whole weaving thing works. Next, I'm going to continue going around, over, under, over, under, over, under, until I start developing these layers of weaving around the center of my CD. I sped it up so you can still just kind of see what's going on. Still going around and around. It'll start going out from the center. I'm trying not to push super hard when I do this, or pull super hard, but I do want it to be kind of nice all the way around my CD. And as I work, I'm always checking to make sure I'm doing the opposite of whatever I did the last time around. If I went under it last time, I'm going it over it this time. I'm just continuing to weave around the center of my CD. Now, once you get low on string, you may want to change to another color. So I make sure to leave a little bit of string left before I do that. And I'm going to change to white. So this is how you do it. You take both ends of string and you put them right next to each other like this. And then you wrap them around a finger, and it doesn't really matter which one. So I got them together, lined them up, tried to match the ends so that they're right next to each other, and I'm going to wrap them around my finger here to make a loop. And then I'm going to put both of those strings through the center of that loop and grab them and pull, and that will give you a nice little knot. And if you have extra string on the end of the knot, after you wrap it around your finger and put the string through, then you can trim it. So wrap it around your finger to make a loop, put both strings through the loop to make a knot, and then trim any excess. And now that I've got this little knot, I can keep on weaving. So now I'm going to use the end of my white string, and I'm going to continue weaving around my CD. And the knot you can actually make disappear by tucking it in as you weave. So as you pull the string tight, you'll be able to get the knot right up against the weaving, kind of like that. And you can just kind of shove it underneath the weaving like that as you go. Now, sometimes it's easier to wait until you go around a second time so that you have another piece of yarn right next to it to kind of hold it in place. But it's really not too hard to just kind of hide that knot so that you don't see it in the finished project. At this point I have finished my white, so I'm going to wrap it around my finger with a new red one, pull it through to make a new knot, and trim off any extra yarn and continue. So I'm going to go back to my original color. I kind of like having that bright white stripe in there, and I'm going to go ahead and continue my weaving. I will hide the knot as I go around. All right, now I am finished. I ran out of string. I don't want to add any more, so I'm just going to finish up weaving this last one. And you could either tie it to the end or you could just kind of tuck it underneath as well. It probably won't go anywhere. You could even add like a little dot of glue and kind of tuck it under so that it really holds it in place. But I'm just going to leave it like that. It should be fine. Next, I wanted to show you how you can add a little loop on the top to hang your piece. So I'm going to go ahead and use this extra white string, and I'm going to tie just by making a loop and putting the end through the loop so that I can add a little bit of string to this one right here. You might want to even double knot it, so you make a loop again and put the end through the loop again to double knot it. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other side here. I just went a couple over and I'm putting it through one of my white pieces, making a loop, putting it through the loop and tying it. We'll do that again, make a loop, put it through the loop and tying it. And now I've got a way to hang up my art. You can always trim the ends in a minute. Another thing you can do if you want to get extra fancy is I added some beads, and I just tied a bead on the end of a string and then I put two more on the same string. And I'm going to have a couple of these hanging down from the bottom of my CD. I thought that might be a nice addition just to give it some interest. So I'm going to do the same thing I did to the top. I'll just pick one of the little pieces of string along the bottom, and I'm going to make a little loop and put my end through the loop and pull to make a knot. And then I'll do that once more just to make a double knot so that it's secure. And you can put as many of these on as you'd like. And then of course trim the ends so you don't have as much yarn hanging off as you are working. So I'm going to go ahead and just touch up these ends here by trimming them. You could also add beads to the top of yours before you add the little latch onto the top of your CD. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can add designs and decorations to this project. Now, once you've added all your beads on, you can also add some designs with some paint markers. I'm using Posca pens. They are great little ways to add some excitement. So I'm just going to add little dots or stripes or zigzags or some kind of design with these pens. And since my yarn is red and orange and pink, I thought it would be fun to use those colors on the outside as well. I'm not completely coloring in this area because the shiny part of the CD is kind of fun to go with this project as well. So I am leaving some of the shiny part showing through, but I did just want to add a little bit of detail, a little bit of interest to that CD just to tie in to the center weaving. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this project and you give it a try on your own and let me know how it goes. Here is my finished project with 3 little strands of beads hanging down and all those fun warm colors. Have a fabulous day and check out Ehlke Art for more fun art tutorials another time.